Coming to you from Strings and Things Studio in Ventura, California, I'm Karin.
I'm Anne.
I'm Kaity.
And this is the Strings Unraveled Book Club.
Woo! Yeehaw! Yeehaw! That's a new one. We haven't started with a yeehaw before. I like it.
It's spring.
So,
Okay. That's when the cowboys come out.
Cowboys, butterflies. Whatever.
I'm gonna make it a rule that every time we start the podcast, we have to have a new greeting like yeehaw. So I don't know.
Challenge accepted.
It's else's turn. What are we doing today?
We are discussing The Other Passenger by Louise Candlish.
I have a confession to make. I didn't read it.
At all?
Read it at all?
I tried 4 times to listen to this book. And it was like, for whatever reason, the narrator's accent
is really
was
annoying.
So grating.
Yes.
I couldn't take it. And it was like distracting enough that I wasn't paying attention as I was listening. So I was like, okay, I started over. And I was like a chapter or 2 in. And then I was like, I can't take it anymore. And I tried like 4 times to do it, and then I was like, I'm just going to buy the book, and I'm going to read it. And then all of a sudden it was this week, and I was like, and I feel really bad, because I really tried, but I couldn't do it.
I know
so
what you mean.
totally
I know what you mean
out.
about that voice. I would almost rather have the robot voice.
It was,
wow.
It was.
yeah. So I do apologize, because this, instead of a 3-sided conversation, I know nothing about this book, except for the first 2 chapters.
So my next
that's something.
My next
a lot
comment's
gets
not
laid down.
My next comment's not about the book, but about the reader. Sometimes when you get a reader that starts with accents and then they mix up the like she started with one accent with one person, and then later in the book she forgot.
Man,
It's a man, yeah.
Huh?
It was a man.
It was a man. See, there you go.
Yeah.
I've read a lot of, but some of the voices that were done, he didn't keep the accent consistent, and I got confused over who was talking.
I don't think that bothers me that much, because I didn't notice
Just
it.
the person's accent, like, in general. Like, when he's not doing any voices, I couldn't take it.
Well,
That's true.
I didn't like anyone in this book.
No, they're horrible people. We all
But
agree.
I think that's
Every single one of them is irredeemable.
I mean, the girlfriend of the main character is not. There's nothing wrong with her, Carol.
No.
I mean, I
Okay,
didn't like
she's
like
kind
her,
of she's kind of like a minor character.
Yeah, she's a little cardboard.
But
did
everybody
nothing
else
wrong.
is horrible.
Yeah.
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 There were some twists in there. I didn't see things right away.
Well, there were several twists, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I
warned
do
us
like the
last week.
twists.
There were several twists.
Mm-hmm.
There was more than one. You said there'd be a twist, and there was like layer on layer. I was waiting for there to be one more.
Me too. I was like, okay.
Which I think I'll share at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
You should read the synopsis.
Okay, so yeah. So it's according to criminalelement.com book reviews, The Other Passenger by Louise Candlish is an unput-downable, possibly not, twisting thriller
4 times.
that explores privilege, societal pressures, and crime when a commuter becomes a suspect in his friends, and you should really put that in quotation marks,
Friends, yeah.
mysterious disappearance. Underneath the skin of this propulsive thriller involving the sudden disappearance of a charismatic young man is a thoughtful, socially conscious examination of contemporary mores, well, there's a fancy word, and how modern punishments fit modern crimes. Well, I don't know if I agree with this person's. Maybe.
Punishments. Okay. Anyway.
Jamie Buckby is a man of seeming contradictions. Am I even on the right book?
Yeah, Jamie is the main character.
See,
am I the only one who read this book?
I read the book, but you
did
realize
it early on, right?
it was in such a first-person narrative. I don't think I ever caught the name of who the speaker was.
Yeah.
Oh, shame. Is a man of seeming contradictions, approaching 50. See, I didn't even realize he was that much older. He lives in an expensive London home with his partner, Claire, but abruptly quit his job as a marketing executive after a traumatic experience. Now he works in a cafe preparing drinks and sandwiches for less than the cost of living, enjoying the job despite Claire's nagging to get his career back on track, which is kind of reasonable, but kind of annoying. Claire herself makes a good salary working for a leasing company, although she is frankly fortunate to have parents who bought a posh townhouse on the cheap decades back when the neighborhood was in its considered less than when considered when the neighborhood it's in was considered less than fashionable. So she was part of the gentrification of the neighborhood. Now Claire and Jamie live there rent-free while her parents enjoy life in their Edinburgh hometown. Jamie is never not aware of what this means for their relationship's power dynamic, even though he's occasionally annoyed by how cavalierly Claire treats her privilege. Yeah.
I was curious as to how he afforded living where he did, being a barista or whatever he was. I didn't get that far.
Oh, yeah. I kind of felt he was a little bit of a kept guy. But
well, I mean, let's look at that. Would you say that about a woman who has a lower salary job than her husband?
Okay.
Or a partner?
There you go. That's a very fair
he
point.
Feels like a kept guy. So
he does. Maybe I'm picking up on his discomfort.
That is definitely like something that is being communicated, that like gender flip discomfort.
I'm going to put a little more to the story. So it's actually Claire who brings about Jamie's friendship with their young neighbor, Kit Roper. Kit's girlfriend, Melia, has started in a junior agent position at Claire's company. So there's this dynamic that they're young and they're fresh. You're right. Now that I think about it, I did realize that they were more middling in age with this young couple, and they're fun and exciting. And Claire's the boss over Melia. The 20-something Melia and Kit form a fast, if unlikely, friendship with the older couple. Discovering that Kit has a shared distaste for underground commuting to the city, Jamie joins him in getting an annual river bus pass, which, of course, Jamie can't really afford, with the two men falling into a routine of commuting to work together along the Thames. So, at some point, the book ends where he's commuting and Kit's not there, and he gets off, and the police are like, "Come talk with us."
Yeah,
your friend's missing,
the real police.
And yeah.
The fake police and the real police too. Oh no, maybe the real police meet him at work. That's what happens. Yeah.
The fake police don't give it away yet.
But we're going to spoil it.
We are going to totally spoil it.
Okay, sorry.
Jamie swears that though he and Kit parted on okay, so there was the evening before, Jamie and Kit get into a fight, some kind of argument that gets heated. Now, granted, this is I've never heard of this. This is like one of those commuter barges where there's alcohol available. So after work, it's kind of like a floating bar.
I imagine it must be a little bit like the boats out to the island.
The island packers?
Yeah. They have a full bar and a full snack bar. You can commute,
or you could just go and party.
Yeah.
So you can get off work and you can go to the bar while it is bringing you home.
Yeah, that's
deal.
so safe.
It is pretty safe if you can, But I guess they had a little too much to drink, and I don't know. I don't remember if it came to blows, but it was pretty heated and loud. But they thought, but according to Jamie, he thought they were the last ones off the boat. But there was some mysterious witness that the police, in quotation marks,
Jamie presumes that there's a mysterious witness.
No, they said that the fake police said that there was that someone saw them. We don't know they were fake at this time though. So anyway, so the whole book Kid is missing, presumed dead. A couple weeks go by, and it's all about, it's sort of this murder disappearing mystery, and it goes on from there. Anyway,
1 week goes by because it goes from the day after Christmas to New Year's.
To New Year's. Yeah. That's right.
Well,
for those of us who read it,
did you like it?
Yeah, because it had a satisfying ending.
Okay.
So, like, the twists were, may I?
Yeah. Now go for it.
Okay, so initially on Boxing Day, or the day after Boxing Day, which is the 26th, the police take Jamie off of his commuter boat and question him. And so, like, the writing story is, like almost journalistic. Because like he's journaling or writing in a diary.
Yeah.
Because, which I don't know if that falls like in the epistolary when you're writing a letter, that format. Because it's his confession and it's omniscient from his point of view. We're not sure if he's telling everything to the fake cops, which he believes are real. But he's telling us the whole story of the affair. And how it started and how it progressed. And
Affair.
the affair that he's having with
Kit's wife.
what is her name? Amelia.
Amelia.
And he turns out to be a despicable cheater, no good, bad guy. So he goes about his life thinking that's all confessed and that Kit is, the whole world thinks that Kit is murdered or disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And then on New Year's Eve, he pretends to tuck himself into bed. And here comes sauntering Kit and Amelia. And this is when we get the first reveal of Jamie and Amelia have been plotting to hide Kit away for an insurance scheme. Well, she's so insane. Amelia convinces Kit to hide for an insurance scheme.
Yep.
Amelia convinces Jamie that they're going to actually murder Kit so that they can get the insurance money.
And then he won't have to feel like a kept man because he'll get some of the money.
Yeah.
And, but to help push him along towards that, she has the quotation mark police meet him outside his house at one point. And no, don't they never bring him down to the station at any point.
He keeps saying, should we go to the station?
Like,
are
no.
you going to mount a campain?
And they're like,
no.
We don't need to do that. We can just do this informally. We can just talk to you right here and pressure you. They even go into his house or at some point. No, they never. I always thought that was kind of weird if they're trying to grill him like out in the street or outside his house or something like that, but they never go to
it's out in the
station,
street, like in a public place where there's lots of cameras.
Yeah.
And we find out later that they've studied the camera angle so that only he's on film and it looks like he's just chatting with friends and getting a cup of coffee with friends.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next deceit. So then Amelia murders Kit and throws him in the river. And then we find out the next deceit is that she's actually framed Jamie for this murder.
So she can keep all the money.
Yeah. And she's it's just layer upon layer. Like, he thinks they're going to a place where the CCTV can't see them. In fact, somebody takes a picture. It's Amelia taking a picture of him fighting Kit before she stabs him. So the next layer I wanted, and everybody thinks that, what did they call him? A fantasist?
I'll look it up.
They call Jamie something like that he's making all this up and has this fantasy when all of this crystal clear evidence illustrates that he had a beef with Kit, he was cheating with his wife, and he obviously had clear motive to murder him.
Because he doesn't have money.
Yeah.
He can't, he's
jealous.
If his girlfriend kicks him out, he's got no place to go, so, and he's,
What I wanted, because you said it in the synopsis, Carol brings these monsters into their lives.
Claire,
Claire, thank you.
Yeah.
Claire brings them into their lives. So I wanted it to be Claire and Amelia in league all along.
I could tell that Claire was flattered that this younger, dynamic woman had any interest in her.
That's what, yeah. But I wanted that one more layer. And then the ultimate twist in the epilogue, Jamie's in jail. He's continuing to write Kit letters in his mind for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And what is the last twist? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
So Amelia comes to visit him. It's this reconciliation program, and she volunteered for it.
The rub.
Yep. And so the Jamie just wants to sit across from her to be like, F you. Did you get the insurance money? She says yes. And they have a further exchange. And ultimately he does get the last word in. So then cut to she's back on the river barge, and she says this was an extravagance for me because of some stupid technicality. She didn't get the insurance money.
Oh, that's right. I love that. Yeah.
He had too many sick days or too many absences from work, and the insurance policy was void.
Yeah, because Kit was often drunk and he hated his job, and a lot of times he just fake called in sick. And so, yeah, I forgot about that. That in the very end, after all that, he didn't work enough hours before she killed him to earn insurance.
So the Black Widow sees some other attractive middle-aged man who she hears talking to his mom about his divorce, and she has her eyes set on the next.
I will say the
victim.
First several chapters, maybe the first third of the book, was confusing for me. It was hard to keep everyone, and I wasn't as engaged in the story. It wasn't until I felt like the snowball started to roll when the first couple twists, until the first couple twists started happening, it just wasn't very interesting. It's like, really? I didn't think it was believable. This younger couple is really they're so self-serving.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, when you're an adult and you're like out in the work world trying to make your way, the age of your friends, because adult friendships are so challenging, that you're going to like take those, openings where you get them, even if it's an older couple.
Didn't you feel it was a little suspicious that this 20-something was into an almost 50-something?
It was weird. And then we find out it was calculated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what must he look like if he's a 49-year-old hottie?
But they kind of described him.
Not that you can't be hot at 49.
Well, they kind of described him as just kind of okay. I mean, although his fellow barista, I think she kind of liked him, or he was maybe just a friend.
Yeah.
But I mean, she supported him.
Yeah, she was a good work friend.
But I can see that he's the only one who kept coming up with who shared this. The story was never in the news. The wife, Amelia never filed a police report, a missing persons report at all. So, and he kept thinking it was, you would kind of think it's odd that, the police are not, if this were in the police, wouldn't they want, if at first when they thought he was missing, wouldn't they have put something in the news? A public plea. Yeah. If you've seen this guy, please help us, blah, blah, blah. None of that happened.
Nope. Yeah, I didn't like any of the people at all.
I think they were good people to not like, though.
Yeah, and so at some point when I was like, no one here is sympathetic, I was like, this must be by design.
Yeah.
So, what was the least thing about the book that you liked?
The thing
thing you liked least.
Oh.
We know Katie didn't like the audio.
I didn't like the narrator.
You tried. You tried, though.
Yeah,
you tried.
You tried, yeah.
4 tries. That's good enough.
Well, I didn't like the people at all. Because I liked the story. I liked the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
But I really hated the people. Yeah.
But do you think that made it for a good story?
Yes, because it was delicious. When everyone gets their just desserts, it was the dish best served.
She did do a really good job of making you kind of despise these people, and the very last was, like you said, felt so. I was just laughing.
Yeah,
I was like, ha ha ha.
Oh, it was delightful. Yeah, that was.
And I liked
that
that feeling of the book.
Yeah.
So, least about the book itself, I guess it was hard, maybe because of the audio. I think the audio book is what threw me off and made it hard to engage the first portion of the book. I was still trying to get a clear picture of who the characters were and some of their and maybe if I'd read it and let my imagination fill in the voices, it might have been a little better.
I could see that.
If you're making a movie, who would you cast? Pick one character that you would cast, and who would cast them. So we don't have to cast the whole movie, but...
Oh, one character? Some guileless young woman. Who would that be?
And our main character, you said, is like a 49-year-old hottie.
Well, he's supposed to be average.
Average hottie.
But for me to be interested...
in a Hollywood movie, they're all hot.
I was like, I mean... I didn't need the sex scenes to be any more graphic than they were because fuck you, cheaters. Sorry.
Beep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I really feel that. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
I
would
think
have
everybody would
chosen a
probably
different
agree
word.
with you.
Monsters. Cheaters are monsters. But for it to be believable and me to care about watching the show, I literally had the thought of it needed to be someone much cuter.
Somebody you wouldn't mind looking at.
Yeah. Well, we don't ever know the race is not described here, so I would choose Idris Elba.
I can see that.
Yeah.
He's handsome.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't seem...
So I'm gonna stay engaged if Idris Elba is the cheater. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of who I would pick.
Oh, Kit would obviously be Kit Harington because obviously that's who she's.
That's easy.
Because he's also like short and fiery.
He doesn't even have to learn
Yeah.
his own different name.
Nope, same name.
I'm trying to think, who would I pick for Claire? I don't know. I don't know British actresses' names.
They
I mean-
have to be British.
That's true.
They could have an accent.
Oh, it would be so tragic if it's Olivia Colman because like you love her.
She seems a little too old.
I think
Well,
she's
they're
the right
almost
age.
they're almost
yeah.
well, Claire is almost 50. Could be a little over 50. Because I feel like she's in
Okay.
a managerial position. She's got the money. She is in kind of a
I've got it.
okay.
Yeah, I've got it. It's the cast of Idris Elba's TV show, which was Luther. So Idris Elba is Jamie. The gorgeous woman who played his wife in the early seasons, who's this like elegant lady who,
Olivia Colman's 48, so you were right.
yeah, I would be so tragic if it's Olivia Colman because she's so adorable and she's one of those great actresses who can look stunning.
Yeah.
Or very
Very plain,
plain. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what she looks like.
And then the guileless young woman could be the woman who played like his sort of I can't think of the right word, but like Sherlock's
Like a sidekick.
not sidekick, but your antagonizer. But she was a little bit more of an ally at times too. That actress name is Amy Fionn Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that's not right.
No.
She played something else. Okay, sorry. She'd be great too because she's got that kind of pixie look. All right, Ruth Wilson could be the ingenue. She's getting a little old now. Sorry.
A little old to be an ingenue.
Yeah, and then Indira Varma is the one who plays his wife. You've seen her in other things. She's absolutely stunning and like tall,
Oh, yeah.
cheekbones.
Oh, she looks like a boss lady.
Yeah.
Oh, I can
she's
totally
so
see her as
elegant,
Claire.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So
Claire's
she
a very
plays Claire.
strong
Yeah.
managerial
Mhm.
business person.
Poised.
That's why she's like, don't you want to try? I got an interview for you with my boss. You know, you could be working with me. You could have like a steady paying job. and
Idris
not rely
Elba
on
is
tips.
about to turn 50.
There you go. I think Anne figured it out.
Yeah, and then Kit Harington will bring him in.
Yeah, throw him in.
Okay, so the cast of Luther plus Kit Harington.
Awesome.
And if you have not watched Luther, guys, it's very good. He's not a cheater. He's a devoted ex-husband. And sexy as heck.
So, I had read some reviews of Louise Candlish's other books, and that she's like the queen of the twist, according to the other.
This was a very good twist.
This was a very good twist.
Sounded very twisty.
Yeah. I still wanted that one more. When you do the movie rewrite, guys,
Add in one more.
make Claire and Amelia in cahoots.
See, but I could see. I like that they're not because I expected them to be.
Ah, fair enough.
So
It's a
it's
little-
like I don't want it to be too on the nose.
Because Claire does this whole thing where she gets her cousin to dig up info, and she almost figures out the insurance scam.
Yeah,
But I felt like as long as we had laid on so
I forgot
much
about that. Yeah.
like reality twisting for Jamie, that why not have one more layer? And that's her new lover or something, not her
No, wait.
cousin.
Now, did she had her cousin do this even after she found out about the affair, right?
Yeah, because she just didn't want this girl to win.
Yeah.
You know?
See, that's why I love your choice for Claire because in a movie because She's the kind of person that was like, oh no, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. So would you read another book? I'm kind of on the fence. What if I read another book and expecting a lot of twists and it wasn't as twisty? I might be disappointed.
Oh, see, that's the thing. That was kind of the bummer about, is it Alex Michaelides and the Maidens?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted more from that because The Silent Patient was such an intricate work of art. But if she's, holding the reign of Twist Queen,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's like, man, now I expect it.
Yeah,
I'm expecting it, and I hate expecting it.
it's like
But
going
it
to
was
see
just-
an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
which
when's
is
it gonna
fine.
happen?
Oh my
Yep.
god,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
my favorite thing. I can't remember what movie I think it was whatever came right after The Sixth Sense. I think The Village was the next movie
The
released.
Village was my
I think
first
there was.
experience of M. Night Shyamalan.
I think Signs was before that.
Oh.
James and I have been on a kick where we've been watching a ton of them, and we were just discussing it.
I
think
like
it was,
all three of those movies.
We watched all three of them.
Yeah.
I think it goes Sixth Sense, Signs, Village. Because
So-
then it was like Village and Lady in the Water, which are like not so great. In his
I
whole-
love
Yeah,
love The
he had
Village
sort of a
because that was my
lull there.
first experience with him.
Well, what I loved
And I
about
love
The
that
Village,
twist.
And Unbreakable's in there somewhere.
yeah, what I loved about The Village, which is more about the movie going experience
Mhm.
than the movie itself, and I think that is part of what he's doing
Yes.
in his art. Is my girlfriend and I went and we were sitting in the movie theater. We're like mid-20s and we're in the movie theater with a bunch of like 18 and 19-year-olds, maybe even younger, and they think they're getting The Sixth Sense. And they got The Village. And I thought I enjoyed the movie.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I was
and
totally
they're
sucked
like,
in.
What? It was amazing.
Yeah, The Village had me totally sucked in that this was in the time frame that it pretends to be.
Absolutely. Joaquin Phoenix holding yarn for his mom.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Love it.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay, so what kind of? I gotta say, I had a lot of feelings about this book. What kind of feelings? I mean, there was I was really pissed off at some of the characters
Yeah.
at various times,
Yeah.
and I was really, I will say, emotionally engaged in this book. It
Well, it was
not in the beginning, but
Yeah, as a chronic eavesdropper, it felt like something juicy I was listening
Absolutely.
in on,
I could even
That
picture.
is fun.
I totally could picture them on this commuter barge at diner type seats,
Yeah.
lounging with like wine in front of them or something, or some kind of multiple glasses of drinks.
Yeah. No, the whole thing was just like
Who was the other friend? Who was the?
Steve,
No, there's a female friend.
Gretchen.
Gretchen.
That I think.
Yeah,
was
there was
right.
Steve and Gretchen. Yeah, and they were just people that they met.
They were part of the boat hangout crew.
Gotcha.
Gretchen was having an affair with Kit, on and off, and Steve was just an a-hole that
All
Claire
these
ends
people
up
sound
with.
so terrible.
Yeah.
They were, but so how did Gretchen not know? She didn't seem worried. No, she did seem kind of worried that
She
Kit was.
Yeah, but she
So-
had a trip planned, so she had
Oh.
to. It was like non-refundable trip,
That's
so
right.
she left on her trip.
What about the book's length? Too long? Too short?
Just enough.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
Any longer and it would have been like you're milking it. Any shorter and it would have been less satisfied.
I actually really like the framework because it's told in 1 year. So whereas like
So it was more than a week.
well, the story's told over a year.
Oh yeah.
The events of the book of Kit going missing and him being interviewed to Kit actually being murdered and him being interviewed is the span of 1 week.
Gotcha.
But the storytelling because sometimes it's hard for me to follow the flashback timelines,
Mm-hmm.
especially in an audiobook. But this was easy because it's 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy to track everything.
So what do you think of the book's title, The Other Passenger? How does it relate to the book's contents? Would there be a different title that you would choose, or would you just let it stand?
I think it's perfect because, I mean, it's talking about, it can be applied so many ways.
Yeah.
Like, the other passenger is his new friend Kit. The other passenger is the mystery person that never
Mystery
really
witness.
exists. Yeah.
The entire book, I was waiting.
Right.
I kept going, what about the, how come the police are not interviewing? They're not really talking about
The other passenger.
they interviewed this other person, but they're not, that's all we get about it.
I assume that he also could be the other passenger.
Yeah.
Like they have to
Yeah.
interview him because he was the other passenger.
The other
Mhm.
passenger to disembark with Kit.
Right.
Yeah. And then we're in the same position of wondering that Kit finds himself in. Or no, I'm sorry, that Jamie finds himself in.
Mhm.
That like we're
Because
like,
he doesn't know any more than we
who
do.
is this?
Yeah.
You know? And that takes us down a really interesting thing. I think the most well-written part of the book to me, or the most vivid for me to experience, was when they're like, yeah, what about that thing that happened on the train? And then Jamie goes on to talk about his claustrophobia and the panic attack he had when he was packed in on the train.
So
which
let's talk
was
about
terrifying.
let's talk about that train incident for a moment, because it is completely debilitating to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a great steady job, but it absolutely required, there's no way he could commute otherwise than going back into the tunnels onto a commuter train. And remind us what happened.
Well, so it's the summertime, it's hot, they're in an underground train, which I guess is the tube, right?
Oh yeah,
I think the tube, yes.
Oh, that's
so
right.
he says, he's telling the story. He's like, I've studied crushes of people, or I don't know if that was the term he used. And if you have this many people per cubic meter or whatever, it starts to move as a fluid mass. And I couldn't even like go down to the ground to settle myself, because if I did, then the people would close in over me. And I'm getting pushed up against the glass and I can't breathe. My lungs can't take in a breath. And then he pulls the emergency brake.
Massive panic attack.
Yeah.
And then they get stuck. And the longer it goes on, what was it, a couple hours?
Yeah. So like he explains that the regular process is that when you pull an emergency brake, the train goes to the next station.
Mm-hmm.
But there was already a train stopped and stalled before the station. And so that's why they are stuck for so long, because they can't move the other train out of their way.
And it's so bad that they report about it he freaks out, and they report about it in the newspapers. So, and people are so it's not just like an incident that he can just grow out of. It goes, because of social media, it goes on and on and on. And even as time passes by, people go, oh yeah, you're that panicky train guy, or they have other things. And there was a woman on the train that was pregnant at the time, and something happened. Did she
went into like premature labor,
Yeah.
and she started like email. I forget, because it felt like it was an email he opened specifically, but she gets a hold of his email address,
and
she starts to like send him abusive emails accusing him of hurting.
He was getting doxxed, about it, and so it was like trauma that kept getting hashed and hashed and hashed, and then, so there's that element that, because wasn't there's some element I thought maybe the other passenger was her.
Well, that's what he fixates on.
Yeah, he fixates
on it being her.
Mm-hmm.
And the fake police have stenciled the name, like penciled in a name on one of their tablets. And he's like, was that her initials? It was like Sarah Miller or something.
Because he never knew her name.
Yeah.
He's just, trying to figure out who was it.
Mm-hmm.
Was it her? Is she doing this to me? Who is it? It's just maddening. It's just but he doesn't seem to go into he's trying to hold on to his panic, so that I don't think he ever has the meltdown that he had on that train.
No, but it comes close when he's fleeing.
Yeah. It's weird how there was never a retraction. There was, even when the authorities for the train even said this is normal, this is normal, what would happen, it was not his fault. It didn't matter, because everybody got a hold of it and want to believe the worst of him. In the same way that as I'm listening to this, I'm one of those same people that I'm listening to all this bad stuff happening to someone, but they're kind of bad people, so I don't mind.
You're eating it up with a spoon.
So I'm
what a fun thing to eavesdrop on.
So she really keeps that going, I think.
Yeah, she keeps the tone
in various elements. It's not just one note. There's like this. She just like revisits that same emotion.
Yeah.
Of panic and that guilty, gossip feeling.
You know, the other part of it is like, sometimes, I mean, he even says it, I think. Like, he knows he's making the wrong choices.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I'm just going to let it keep happening to me. Like, I could tell her to stop. Like, at the very beginning, I could tell her to stop. It could be a one-time kiss. What am I doing to Claire? And then, but he just keeps letting life happen to him and passively taking it in. Like, if you have a job that you hate that your job, the commute is creating such intense stress for you, you could change jobs.
Which is what he did.
Right?
Yeah.
He didn't change jobs. He was let go or had to resign from the good job.
Oh, yeah.
And so
he
it
didn't
got
switch.
taken away from him, or
Mhm.
passively he changed jobs. You are correct. He changed jobs. He just lets life happen to him instead of taking control of it.
But I think Claire knows that. And that's kind of what really annoys her.
True.
Because a strong woman like Claire, a strong-minded woman, kind of needs someone equal in partnership. And at least when he had this other job, they were the dynamics were equal. But now that he's not the breadwinner, he's really relying on her for everything financially. If they want to go on vacation, she's the one who's got to pay for everything. It's just if they want to go out to dinner, she's got to pay for everything. It's not an equal relationship, and not that money should be that way. But I think of it, it's more than just the money. It's his. I think she gets really frustrated that he will not step up for himself.
Well, she has a set of expectations for what a life fully lived looks like.
Yeah.
And he has a different, which he iterates many times of like, I have a job. This job is a lot harder than any other job I've ever had. Like, I am living a life I enjoy. So they're just not on the same page about what a fulfilled life would look like.
So do you think if Kit and Amelia had never happened, would he and Claire keep going?
Absolutely.
You don't think at some point Claire would be like, I'm okay, I just can't.
Because it's already been so long.
Yeah?
Like,
yeah.
people tend to stay and make these passive choices. She even says when it's falling apart, don't you wish you could rewind? She wants to keep him. Yeah. He's kept and she wants to keep.
And yet she complains about it.
Well, that's the thing that drives me absolutely insane. Like, it is a core foundational belief in me that if I am unhappy, that I should look at what I can change about that. And, like, first I look at what I can do. If there's nothing internal, then I start looking at the external things. And then I make a change. Like, but that's not normal. Like, most people stay with what they know because that's safe and definable. And they stay miserable. Like, that's what I think Claire would have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have been together, but they would not have been happy.
No.
No. They would continue, and he wouldn't feel comfortable leaving, but he wouldn't.
I mean, I think there's more behind cheaters.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, he didn't want to face that conflict.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of all the questions I have.
Well, I think it was a fun pick, Karin.
Yeah.
I'm interested in trying more of her books. I'm trepidatious about worrying about what's around the corner, what's going to come around the corner. I think she's pretty artful at hiding the twists. Because, for example, like, I was believing along with him that he was legitimately being interviewed by the police.
Oh, I told you.
Time.
Yeah.
So you didn't feel like something's gonna happen, like a twist is coming.
No.
Yeah.
And that was already.
Well, if you give it enough time between this and the next one, maybe you'll be more open
surprised.
to. Yeah. A little more surprised.
I watched a movie or not a movie. It was a limited series that was but it was like quick enough. I actually watched it in maybe 2 evenings. Mm-hmm. It's called The Deceived. I watched it on Prime, I think, and it's a blend of this story, like the whole who's really dead, is there insurance fraud, what's happening, and Rebecca, young, unrooted woman comes to be the new mistress of mistress of the house to the powerful, domineering
Sure.
male character. Very good.
Yeah.
There's some bad accent situations in this one, though. There's something about the husband's accent. Like, it's set in Ireland. She's going to school in Oxford, and it's a English teacher, or like her master's, whatever he is. They seem to do that weird.
Professor
Yeah.
thing.
Mentor.
Was the one you saw called Our House?
What do you mean?
You said you're watching a show that's a mixture of these.
No, the book.
It's a
show
book.
is no. It's the show. It's a show. The show is called The Deceived.
Because she has a new book called Our House, and it's a major part of ITV drama. So I thought it's interesting. So I just thought there was
ITV actually has some really good stuff. But I've only been finding that like they have French subtitled crime dramas. But those are fantastic if I feel like reading subtitles.
Oh, she does have a new book that's going to come out in the UK in June. So after that here, called The Heights, a twisty revenge thriller. Whose narrator Ellen has a strange fear of heights known as high place phenomenon. You could say she's my most Hitchcock-inspired character yet. Can't wait. This is from the author. Can't wait for you to read it and share your thoughts. Paperback publishes in the UK. If the paperback comes out in June, then In the Heights might be already available. Otherwise, so
very good. No, The Deceived just was like an amalgamation of other things that we'd been interested in, and it was very good.
Has anybody read anything else exciting since last time we talked?
I know Karin has. My library.
Guess what? I haven't.
What?
One of these days, I'm really going to surprise you.
Ooh, I can't wait. I'm continuing with my Octavia Butler foray into her writing, and it just gets better and better.
I've been reading... Did I start any books by Louise Penny last time?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm now finished book 5.
Oh, wow.
In the series. I don't know if I want to keep... And they're all centered in the same Three Pines, but every time I hear Three Pines, it reminds me of... Mystic Pines or whatever Pines. Remember that thriller Lone Pine or something? Not Lone Pine.
That's
something.
A different thing.
It's a sci.
No, the one,
sci-fi. Yeah. Because it's a small kind of controlled town,
Blake,
but it's fun. It's fun. It's. I think I may take. There's 17 books in that series, and after 5, I may take a break because I'm like I like the characters, but I'm getting a little too much of them. I am reading America Goddamn that just came out. The audiobook doesn't come out, so I'm listening to the bots read it to me.
Enjoying that?
It's interesting where they make a pause between pages.
You had us all there.
Yeah, but and that's it's not fiction genre, so it's really it has more historical and social, but it's inspired from it takes its title from the Nina Simone song Mississippi Goddamn, which starts off really peppy and fun, and she goes, "This is a show tune," but the rest of the play hasn't been written yet. And it starts off really peppy and fun, and then it is kind of a condemnation of all the social problems that we are now, 50 years later, still dealing with. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. The book just, America Goddamn, Goddam, came out last week.
Very good.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's my turn to pick the book, which I don't feel like I earned because I slunked out of this month, but I'm still going to pick.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So we are going to be reading a book by an author. Her name is Miriam Toews, and that's spelled Toews, which is a Mennonite name.
Toews.
Toews. Miriam Toews is how you pronounce it. I read a book by her a few years ago that was called Women Talking, and it's about a Mennonite community and the women within that Mennonite community sort of like raising up.
That was good because I read it after you. Yeah. Because of your recommendation.
It was very good. So when I was at Timber, our local bookstore, this was like one of their recommended ones, and it's her newest book. And it's called Fight Night by Miriam Toews. So I have a little synopsis, or her blurb, I guess. It says, "You are a small thing," Grandma writes, "and you must learn to fight. Sweeve's grandma, Elvira, has been fighting all her life. From her upbringing in a strict religious community, she has fought those who wanted to take away her joy, her independence, and her spirit. She has fought to make peace with her loved ones when they have chosen to leave her, and now, even as her health fails, Grandma is fighting for her family, for her daughter, partnerless in the 3rd term of a pregnancy, and for her granddaughter, Sweeve, a spirited 9-year-old who has been suspended from school. Cramped together in their Toronto home, on the precipice of an extraordinary change, Grandma and Sweeve undertake a vital new project, setting out to explain their lives in letters they will never send. Alternating between the exuberant, precocious voice of 9-year-old Sweeve and her irrepressible, tenacious Grandma, Fight Night is a love letter to mothers and grandmothers, and to all the women who are still fighting painfully, ferociously for a way to live on their own terms." So I picked up a copy of it at our local bookstore, but it's also an audiobook, so that is my choice for our next month.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and I thoroughly enjoyed the first one, so I'm hoping that this one is just as good. So I guess we will see you in 1 month for that. That would be our May episode. And if you read anything, exciting between now and then, or if you ever have any recommendations, if you want to hear us talk about a book that you love that we haven't touched on yet, we would love to hear recommendations from anybody who is a listener. So you can always email us, or, shoot us a message on Instagram or whatever. And we'll see you next month.
Woohoo!
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
How do cowboys say goodbye?
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw.
Strings Unraveled is a production of Strings and Things Studio, with Anne Lekravin-Kazoli, Kaity Von Rader-Fraker, and Karin Wilmoth. Recorded and edited by Kaity Von Rader-Fraker. Find us online at stringsandthingsstudio.com or on Facebook or Instagram at Strings and Things Studio. You can email us at stringsandthingsinfo@gmail.com.